Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network, and this is Maggie. I took a bath this morning in my cat's water glass. That's her favorite place to take a bath, but that's why she looks a little rugged this morning. Anyway, today's topic, I'm so excited. I'm going to do something a little different today. Today's topic is cymatics. And cymatics is a way that we can actually visualize vibration and the impact of vibration, in this case, sound, on matter. And I think it'll launch a really awesome conversation. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing every cell, every organ, bringing vital life energy throughout your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, fatigue, negativity. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine sparkling, brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, just electrifying, illuminating, and energizing all your molecules, all your electrons, lighting up your cells with pure life and glowing out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together very softly. Let's rub our fingers against our palms and feel the deliciousness of that sensation. How wonderful it is to have this sensual, sense based experience of being in the physical form. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. I'm really excited to share this with you. Cymatics is is a way that we can actually see, visualize vibration. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a YouTube video with you. It's like 3 minutes long. It's not very long, but before I do that, I'd love to make sure that you're actually with me. So if you're here, if you could put something in the comments, that would be awesome, just so that I know that you're here. Meantime, I'm just going to talk a little bit. Um, w- when I told you guys that I was at a week long intensive with Joe Dispenza this past week, last week, and one of the things that he talked about is the each of the energy centers in our bodies having their own brain and having their own vibration. And he showed us, oh, wonderful. Good morning, Rosalind. Yes, it's good, good to hear Maggie, and it's good to have you here. Here she is. She's still a little wet from the morning bath in my cat Jules water glass. But anyway, so thank you for chiming in. Now I know everything's working. I'm going to show you guys a video of cymatic vibrations, or using cymatics to capture vibration, and then we can have a conversation about how that manifests into the universe. Welcome, welcome, Hope. Good afternoon to you. And why this I started talking about the different energy centers having their own frequency is that they each have their own pattern or their own mandala. And when we harmonize our energy centers, what we're doing is we're overlaying these different frequency patterns to create this vast and magnificent energetic form. So I'm just going to see if I can share this with you. I don't know that I can see comments during the video. So when I come back from the video, I will address your comments, and we can interact with that. So I'm going to share my screen, and here we're going to go over here to, whoops, here we are. And this is a video on cymatics, and I'm going to make it full screen for you too. So, oops, I realized when I shared, I didn't enable the sound the way I should have. So here we go. Do it again. And I'm going to make it full screen for you. Here, let's see. Wasn't that amazing, amazing, amazing? Is that incredible? Yes. So, hi, Dido. Welcome, welcome. And yes, so this is an awesome thing to be able to meditate to. But also, I want to, we talk about frequency and vibration all the time, and how raising our frequency shifts our experience. And the thing about the cymatics is that it actually shows us that this is not just a concept. This is actually really, truly the way that things work. And when we talk about shifting our frequency to manifest things into the material, this gives us a visualization for that. So if we imagine that each of our chakras has, when it's harmonized, has its own vibration, then it has its own pattern. And if we can imagine that as we harmonize each of our chakras, each of our energy centers, that we are stacking these mandalas, these energetic patterns on top of each other to make this very, very rich, complex, integrated, deep, multidimensional frequency pattern in the world. And so when we if you're familiar with Emoto, he is the guy who took all kinds of frequencies and captured them in ice crystals. And there's a beautiful, beautiful book of all these ice crystals with different frequency patterns in captured in water. And um, when we emanate a frequency of love, for instance, that has a pattern to it, and it is impacting the material world. So I just find this so fascinating. I'm wondering if you have the excitement about it that I do. It was kind of a revelation to me. Like, I've known about this for a really long time, but it was kind of a revelation to me to think about how by having, for instance, each of the energy centers having their own energetic pattern, how we are literally manifesting in the world. And if each of our thoughts has a frequency to it, that it has an energetic, physically energetic influence on the material world. So it 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 somehow for me helps to truly solidify, pun intended, my understanding of how the universe works, and how sound and frequency and our energy is really emanating out into the world, and why emotion is such an important part of manifesting. Because the emotion, like the emotion of gratitude, the emotion of love, the emotion of appreciation and peace and joy, and that all of these emotions are powering this pattern, a literal energetic pattern out into the world. And it's my understanding of it, based on this revelation, I don't know if I'm communicating it all that well to you, but it was truly a revelation to me to put all these pieces together. It's not that I didn't know it, but it just gelled in a new way to make this manifestation protocol so much more real. And uh, hello, Claudel. I haven't seen your name here before. Welcome, welcome. So Claudel says, I'm finding this intriguing because I work with frequency and sound. Exactly. Well, the truth of it is that we all work with frequency and sound. But we may not be doing it consciously. And certainly, Claudel, if that's where your concentration is, like, you're more conscious relating to frequency and sound probably than most of us are, because you're working with it. And we all know that, like, when we hear certain sounds, there's emotion that gets stirred with that sound. Like, if you're hearing somebody singing in a beautiful voice with certain tones, sometimes those tones just capture your heart. And oh, well, welcome, Claudel. So good to have you jump in with us today. I hope you'll join us again going into the future as well. So we know that when there is a certain tone, that it can shatter crystal, right? When somebody sings a certain note or a certain tone, it can shatter crystal. And we've heard about Jericho, the story of Jericho, and the trumpets, and then the walls came tumbling down. And there are also examples, for instance, of bridges, that when there was a certain harmonic that was created by the wind and the sound of the wind, then it would actually buckle the bridge. So sound and frequency is the foundation of existence. And if you, I'm not particularly biblical, but in the Bible it says first there was the word, right? Before anything. And whether it was the word or there was sound, that everything emerges from sound. And so all the structures of life, all the structures of the universe are potentially, I mean, maybe that it really truly and emanated from sound, and certainly emanated from frequency. And I I'm kind of entertained by the fact that this is such a revelation to me, because I've been talking this stuff for forever, but somehow it's connecting in a much, much deeper way right now, to recognize that we are and all of existence is a pattern of frequency. And when we recognize that, so I've spent the last week at a Joe Dispenza intensive retreat, and so much of that retreat was spent first in understanding how certain mechanics of our bodies, like activating the pineal gland, can influence our whole consciousness, and understanding some of the chemistry and such behind that. But really spending a lot of time in meditation, and in this space of meditation, getting beyond the ideas of time and space and personality and identity and all of that good stuff. And so what is happening, I believe, in that state of meditation, is that as we're releasing our attachment to all these ideas, we're radically shifting our frequency. And when we radically shift our frequency, even if we don't radically shift our frequency, when we shift our frequency, we're a magnet for different frequencies and experiences. And we're also shifting our physiology. So when we are angry, our physiology, our energy is different, our frequency is different, and by definition, it has to change our physiology. It has to impact our physical being. And so when we sustain a certain energetic pattern over time, it becomes more and more crystallized in our being. So if we have a pattern of sadness, of depression, of anger, of grief, of joy, of love, of gratitude, whatever the frequencies are that we are maintaining over a period of time, is going to manifest in physical form. And we saw how, just on a very basic level, how frequency affects matter. And so yesterday I mentioned the book from Joe Dispenza, "You Are the Placebo," and the subtitle, I guess, for it is "Making Your Mind Matter." Dido posted it for us yesterday. And so what the meaning of that statement, "making your mind matter," is taking the frequencies of your thoughts, because all thoughts have frequency as well, taking the frequencies of your thoughts and actually implementing them, actually manifesting them in matter. And Claudel says, thank you to Rosalind for inviting her to join us. And Rosalind, I thank you for inviting Claudel to join us. And I thank all of you for sharing this with folks, to enrich and broaden our community, to be communicating together about all these awesome things. But I just have um, such excitement about this because it's taking me to a new level of understanding, which I think is going to uh, percolate into new levels of mastery as well. Because when we can actually see the effects, like we know that negativity is damaging and it impacts our body and being, and it impacts our environment, but actually seeing it, they say seeing is believing. Actually seeing it and being able to extrapolate on that whole awareness, to carry it into an understanding of how we be and the impact of our being on the world, our personal world, as well as the world beyond us directly. If there is such a thing as the world beyond us, maybe we are all of it. We are this isolated, individuated expression, and at the same time we are every manifestation. I am you, you are me, etc., that we're all truly, truly one. And if we think about this frequency thing, and we got to see it, if we recognize that there is that we exist in this vast collective frequency, that we're all interacting, we're all blended, it gives us a whole other way to experience our interconnectedness, which is pretty remarkable. So Claudel says, your excitement just activates my root chakra. I feel it spinning. Whatever you're planning, it will go full ahead. Thank you for that feedback, Claudel. So yeah, there's a lot that I'm planning, and also I just am so excited to I am hoping that some of this revelation, or this deepened awareness for me, is communicating to you as well, because there's so much awesomeness that we create everything that we create, everything just by our virtue of being, is pretty awesome, in that we create it. And when we recognize that we really truly do have this physical influence on the universe, then we have, I don't know, I think that the first step to transformation is awareness, and and being able to pull this awareness of the mechanics of the universe into a deeper experience, a deeper embodiment of that knowledge, is something that will have a greater impact on our environment. And as we realize that we are energetic beings that are broadcasting into the universe, then perhaps we can harness that in a way that produces more of our desires, and to recognize that we can create anything, that out of this vast unbounded field of energy, unlimited field of energy and possibility, we can materialize pretty much anything. So Claudel says, there is definitely good frequencies in the universe brewing up positive energies. Exactly. And we get to amplify those energies. And as we recognize that we get to amplify those energies, I mean, we really truly are the batteries, or the energy of change and transformation. And so without being bound by the material existence that is here right now, we have the capacity to call forth new possibilities with our frequency. So Claudel says, we're planning a group meditation for Gaia in our next full moon drumming session. That sounds awesome. That sounds like so much fun. Anyway, maybe you'll let us know how we can find out about being involved in the full moon's drumming session. I'm wondering if it's on Zoom or if it's actually in person. Anyway, the drumming sessions, talking about that, you know, you're putting sound and frequency into the world. When we talk about, or when we do mantras, those mantras are putting frequencies out into the world. And so the things that we speak to ourselves over and over and over again, those things have the same kind of power and energy as mantras. So we want to be alert to the kinds of things that we repeat to ourselves over and over, and what kind of frequency we're generating, what kind of materialization we're calling forth into being through these repetitive statements that we make to ourselves and about the world. So anyway, please, if this was interesting to you, just go and look up more videos around cymatics. It's Cymatics, cymatics. And you could also check out Dr. Emoto and water crystals to learn more. And oh, so Claudel is in South Africa. How awesome. And you're doing the drumming in person. That's beautiful. And then on the 27th, live on Facebook. Very, very cool, Claudel. That sounds amazing. And I have a client scheduled in a couple minutes, so I am going to wrap up today. But I'm really excited about, if you couldn't tell, I'm really excited about being able to visualize energy into matter. And that's something that cymatics gives us a very immediate experience of. And we can extrapolate that into the world that we're calling forth. So with lots and lots of love and all kinds of good energy, I'm Mira Rubin. This is Maggie. We're the Core Connection. We go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And it was lovely meeting you too, Claudel, and everyone else who's joining us. So great to have you here. And please check out the other wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network. And I look forward to seeing you again very, very, very soon. Lots of love and tons of